Many of the challenges in school districts around the city of Erie are similar. Leaders are developing plans to educate students, but also keep them safe.
Samir Nefsi takes a closer look at how parents in the Mill Creek School District are making sense of it all.
The start of the new school year is getting closer and closer, but how do Mill Creek parents feel about the return to school with an ongoing pandemic?
Right now, if you ask me today, should I send my kids to school tomorrow, even with masking and physical distancing, I would say that I don't think that it's an idea that I'm comfortable with.
Mother of two Mill Creek students, Kate Newbert-Luckner, says the decision not only impacts students, but teachers and staff, and ultimately the community.
Because that's where those students are going back to. You know, it's not just what happens inside the physical school building, but it's what happens when the students are going back to their parents who may be immunocompromised.
For some, it doesn't seem fitting with cases still on the rise. For Tina Ciano, she fears that the emotional adjustment will be straining for students.
You can't see facial expressions, which you could in the past, and it could actually cause them to feel even more isolated.
And the biggest question both parents have for the school district is exactly what happens if COVID-19 happens to enter any of the schools.
Students travel to both buildings depending on what classes they have, so you have to factor that in, it being exposed to each building, and not only 9th and 10th or 11th and 12th, but to all four.
Samir Nefsi, Jet 24 Action News.
Joining us now is Darcy Mosley, the acting co-superintendent for the Mill Creek School District. On top of all of this, you're also preparing for the eventual arrival of your new superintendent, so we really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, tell us, how can parents prepare their kids for the changes they're facing this fall?
That's a great question. I think, the number one thing is that, we want our parents and our students to be prepared with some of the things that will look different. So, really having conversations about, what does it mean to wear your mask? When should you, mask? How do you, interact when you're in the hallways? What kinds of things do you do at a drinking fountain? They're all pieces of the training that we are putting forward through some public service announcements as well as video addresses to give our parents resources to help to have those conversations. And then knowing certainly we will continue to have those conversations and training opportunities with our students as they come back to us.
We asked Brian Polito what they learned about going online in the spring. How have you in Mill Creek improved on how virtual classes are operated since last spring?
Yeah, so when initially we had that closure, obviously we had what I call pandemic instruction, which was really, we had an emergent situation and we needed to just switch on the dime and transition to virtual learning. So we, did the best we could, but what we have done is rely on the experts that are the teachers in our classrooms. They've been hard at work, working on lessons, preparing themselves through professional development, taking on a lot of extra responsibilities to transition from face-to-face to virtual, and really be prepared for whatever plan we ultimately adopt.
So we asked Superintendent Polito this question. We'll ask you too. What is the plan in Mill Creek if someone tests positive, either a student or staff member?
Yes, so the first thing we would do would be make sure that we contact the Department of Health, who would, work alongside us. Our administrators have been going through the contact tracing course through Johns Hopkins. We are looking to hire a pandemic coordinator, a position that the state has required all districts to have to assist with us, and we would follow those Department of Health guidelines through our team. Our pandemic team has a process that has been delineated that we will follow to make sure we notify not only those who may have been close contacts, but others that may have come into contact with either a positive case among a student or a staff member.
All right, Superintendent, we appreciate it. We appreciate your time here, and we appreciate the information, of course, as Mill Creek, just like all the other districts, kind of figures out how you're going to move forward with back to school, assuming it happens, right?
Right.
All right, thank you very much. Brianna Adams with the Health Department still with us. And Brianna, most kids in Mill Creek, take the bus to school. How do we safely follow Pennsylvania and CDC protocol, on a school bus? We all know what a school bus looks like when it's full.
We do know what school buses look like when they're full. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of space to social distance. And so we're asking again that districts are doing the best that they can to provide as much space between students. while still being able to efficiently get them to school. What will be different on school buses are wearing masks, spreading out students so that they're not just sitting in a group with their friends, loading the bus from the back to the front, which is usually where the kids want to sit anyway, I think, in the back. So just loading the bus strategically for pickups and drop-offs, and really making sure it's the most efficient process that it can be.
Brianna, did you happen today, Dr. Levine made a comment about schools and not being very optimistic about them going back this fall. Do you have any reaction to that today, or have you heard anything?
I was not able to watch that conference today, so I don't have a comment on that.
Okay, Brianna Adams, thank you so much from the Health Department for that information, and we'll check back in with you.
Thank you.